This is Andy Paroff, Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by Hosea Burton here in Bolton. Hosea, first and foremost, Happy New Year, and I hope you had a good Christmas.
Happy New Year, yeah. I had a good Christmas, quiet one with the kids.
What did you get up to over the Christmas period? Was you sticking to camp, obviously ticking over because of the Golden Contract Tournament, or?
No, to be honest, listen, I fought on the 14th and I was back in the gym on the 6th, so I had a little bit of time out, but I never had loads of time out. I don't abuse myself, I'm not a big drinker, I don't smoke or take drugs, so I eat a bit of junk food, but it's allowed after a fight.
Obviously, you just mentioned you fought on the 14th, defeating Bob Ajisaf on points, knocked him down in the first round. Had time to reflect since then. What was your thoughts on your performance and your victory?
It was what it was. Listen, I knew Bob was a tough, awkward customer, so like I've said this in many interviews, like whoever fought Bob that night was going to go the distance with him. He's never been knocked out before. I don't think he's been put over. Oh, he might have been put over once or twice, but he's a tough, hard man with a good chin who was probably more avoided than I've been avoided for the last 3 years. What
was your thoughts when you dropped him? Was he six seconds into the first round that you dropped him? What was your thoughts?
Right, well, it's a technical one because it was actually 5 seconds on the clock he touched down. So I think it was 5, but the commentary said it was 6. But I'm not going to argue about half a second.
But what was your thoughts at the time? So you knock him down so early on. Mentally, you were thinking, go on, stop him now, make even more of a statement, or how did you stay composed? Just think, let my boxing do its magic?
Right, well, I did say in interviews earlier on, you're not going to stop Bob. If you hit him with one, he's not there to be hit with the second and the third and the fourth. So when I caught him with that first shot, I thought, oh, I might be wrong. But then I went back into him and I landed another shot or two, like another decent right hands. But I could see he was altogether there. And I knew then I was not going to stop him. Because I've just hit him with a shot he never expected at all. And look, he's been in with Tony. Tony's a big, massive puncher. Tony couldn't stop him. He's been in with Orville McKenzie. Another great, big, massive puncher. So you're not going to knock him out. But when I caught him, I did think, well, I might have you. But then I went and tested the water again, and I could see he was still there. So that first punch did swing the fight into my favour, because if he come out and hit me with that shot, then I would have had to do what he had to do and try to chase me through the fight.
Obviously, I know we've had 2 or 3 interviews throughout last year where we mentioned the fact that you've obviously had the difficulties of trying to find yourself a fight which would bring the best out of you. How did it feel to go back into the ring in a meaningful fight this time round compared to what you had to go through these past 2-3 years since you fought Frank Buglioni?
I loved it. I loved the fact that if you didn't turn up and fight good, you could get beat. So that's the nerves, and that's the thing that makes you want to train hard. For the last 3 years, I've never had that. I've been coming to the gym and I've been training hard. I've been fit, but I've not been in a frame of mind and a mental mood where you can beat yourself up in the gym to go and fight some opponent that's not up to your standard.
Obviously, as well, just want to get your thoughts on your opponents who were also victorious. Start off with Liam Conroy winning against Andre Sterling. Your thoughts on his victory?
Good win, good performance. Liam Conroy, I like him. I've knew him since the amateurs. I've known him for years. And before the competition even started, I messaged Liam, you keep away from me and I'll keep away from you. I said, I'd like to see you in the final. Because the man's an hard-working man. He's got a missus, he's got a kid. He's only in boxing to earn a few pounds to better his family. Which, if a man's in the sport to do that, fair play to him, There's easier ways of making a living. He works a job down at the boatyard, the docks, and then goes and trains. So I'd like him to do well. I'd like to meet him in the final.
And probably the shock of the night was Ricard Bolotnik's stopping Stephen Ward in the first round. What was your thoughts on his stoppage and his win?
Not taking nothing away from Ricard, but I do think anybody that night who fought Ward would have beat him, and most of us would have knocked him out. Stephen was I'm a big man. I'm 6'4" and I'm a big man for my weight. He's a bigger man than me for the weight. So it didn't come as a shock. That man, Stephen, just crashed his weight. I don't know if he crashed his weight. I just think he's just actually too big for the weight, and he's weak. I think Stephen should go to cruiserweight and see how he goes there. I think he'll be a lot better man. He'll hold a lot better punch at cruiserweight than he does at light heavy. Ricard looked well. He'd done his job. He'd done what he had to do. But I do think any of the other three beats him. Me, Conroy, and Michelle. Or Sergey. Sergey.
I was going to say, we'll come on to Sergey Michel now, beating Tommy Philbin. What was your thoughts on his victory as well?
He can box. He's a decent boxer. He showed a bit of power early on. He just doesn't look big enough. He doesn't look as a light heavyweight to me. He looks a good super middleweight, or a decent super middleweight. He's got good skills, got good movement. He's got good timing. He's not a bad fighter, but I stop him.
Who do you think, out of the remaining fighters, is your toughest possible fight?
Liam Conroy.
What makes you say that it's Liam?
Why do I say it's Liam? Because Liam can box a little bit, he can fight a little bit, and he can punch a little bit. Bolotnik's just going to fly forward. Anybody flies forward to me gets beat up. Bolotnik's just going to walk forward. He's going to try to do what he done to Stephen, and I'm a better fighter than Stephen. Stephen is a 6'4" man, might be even a bit taller, who can only fight. If you watch all of Stephen's fights, he's involved in wars because he goes forward. And a big man's got to be able to go in reverse as well. So,
just to move away from yourself, but to stick with a light heavyweight division, one fight which kind of don't know what's happening with now, Craig Richards and Shakan Pitters for the vacant British title. That was mandated. McKenzie won the purse bids, and now he ended the interview with IFL saying he doesn't know whether that fight will go ahead because there might be more opportunities or better opportunities for Craig Richards instead. Firstly, what are your thoughts on that? You've been in and amongst boxing, the politics of it all. If that fight wasn't to happen, what are your thoughts on it?
I think Shakan beats him. I was offered the Shakan Pitters fight, and I said yes to it. And their team said it's a fight that we're looking to have in the future, but at this moment in time, we can't take it as Jose is too experienced for him. Then, shortly after that, we was on for the Craig Richards fight. We accepted to fight. I accepted my money. He was on more money than me. Then they came back and said they needed more money. But now it's come about that Joe Cordina took our slot on the show. Because he was obviously fighting for less money than us. Craig Richards is not a good fighter at all. Shakan Pitters punches he's facing. I just don't... Craig, they're looking for the easy way possible. Don't fight nobody with a pulse. Fight whoever you've got to fight. Look, in my opinion, he got beat off of the other fella from London, who Conroy beat the other day. Sterling. Yeah. In my opinion, Sterling had him done. He won the fight. I don't know how he won the fight. Maybe I just can't judge a fight, but for me, Sterling beat Richards. For me, Shakan beats Richards, beats Sterling. Shakan's not a bad fighter, but he's all right. He's just an all right fighter. He's a decent British man, Shakan. So if that fight did happen, Shakan would win. But I can't see that happening because did you see Richard Spider's last fight? Yeah, it was a good fight, that, wasn't it?
Moving on.
It was a good fight, that, wasn't it?
I enjoyed the cards, but I was on holiday, so I could only see highlights of it. So I can't really give a formal opinion on that.
It was rubbish. I didn't think he. It's Craig Richards, typical Craig Richards. You can't fight, and if you can fight, have a fight with me anytime you like. I will bet you my purse against your purse as I can beat you.
We'll make sure Craig sees that one then, Hosea. Just to move away from Craig and onto Joshua Buatsi, a lot of talk at the minute that he's on the verge of a possible world title fight. Do you feel Josh is ready to challenge at world level?
I don't know. Listen, he's fought at world level as an amateur for a long time, so if he's not ready for a world title, it's a bad job. he can fight. Joshua can fight. He's one of these fighters. There's me, there's Callum Johnson, there's Joshua Buatsi. We're the top three. Then there's Anthony Yard. And then the rest is all way below us. He can fight, so yeah, he's a young man. He doesn't abuse himself. He's quite a nice man. I'd like to see him fight for a world title, yeah.
Very briefly, because I know he hasn't got anything announced or anything at the minute, but what do you kind of see for Anthony Yard this year? Where do you see his career mapping out on the back of that defeat to Sergey Kovalev in August last year?
I think he'll fight one or two 55-year-olds, and then he'll fight for another version of the world title.
Just to final word on the lightweight division and on your campmate Callum Johnson, you just mentioned him earlier on. He's going in for the vacant EBU title against Igor Mikakele. I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah,
Igor, I'll go with Igor. But what are your thoughts on that one?
Igor's a tough southpaw who can fight. Callum Johnson is a great orthodox who can punch and fight and box. So it'll be a good fight. Makes for a good fight.
And just a few words on the rest of your campmates. Obviously, we've got Callum Smith, a lot of talk as to what's going to happen next. The number one in the super middleweight division, Ring Magazine title holder. A lot of talk about Canelo, Joe Saunders. What do you think is next in line for Callum?
I don't know. I genuinely don't have a clue for him. I think... I don't know. Listen, Canelo will be a good fight for him. He's a way bigger man, so he should beat Canelo. Triple G could be a fight. He's a way bigger man, he should beat him. Billy Joe's a brilliant boxer, brilliant southpaw. But I just think styles makes fights, and I think Callum's too big. I'm not saying Callum would beat Billy Joe, but I'm saying it'd be a fight that wouldn't take fire, if you know what I'm saying. It's a fight that you want to see exciting fights, and I just don't see that being a real exciting fight.
And then to move away from Callum and on to Sam Hyde. Sam obviously fighting next week against Dion Juma for the English Cruiserweight title, which is also a final eliminator for the British Cruiserweight title, which is held by Richard Riakporhe. We thoughts on Sam Hyde's fight next week first.
Dion Juma, he can fight. He's a good boxer, puncher, fighter. You know, he doesn't give loads of ground. He doesn't come looking to take loads of ground, but he's quite slick, and he can bang a bit. He's got long arms, an awkward southpaw again. But I'm looking at Sam in the gym. Sam's looking really good. He's looking sharp. He's looking strong. He's fitter than he's ever been in his life. So I can see an exciting fight.
I mean, just as I've done with Paul, just want to get your thoughts on a few fights as well. I haven't had a chance to catch up with you since. On the back end of last year, Ruiz-Joshua to Anthony Joshua reclaiming his unified world heavyweight titles. What was your thoughts on Anthony's performance and his victory?
Fair play to Anthony Joshua. I was one of them people who thought he couldn't win. But when I seen that Ruiz put so much weight on, he's been living off his millions, and sometimes that goes to fighters' heads. You see some of these Brazilian fighters or these Puerto Rican fighters, when they earn fortunes and they've not been used to that money, their next fight can be a stinker. Joshua fought to a game plan, done what he had to do. Alright, it was hit and run, and he won every round, and he won them easily. When he stood his ground, Ruiz was very strong, and it showed. Like, Joshua still got, I wouldn't say shook badly, but he still got rattled a little bit. So Joshua boxed the fight, he had to win. You're better off winning a boring fight than losing an exciting fight every time. And I'm not saying that fight was boring, but I am saying he stuck to the game plan and executed it brilliantly.
Finally, your cousin, Tyson, is only a matter of just over a month away now from the Deontay Wilder rematch. 7 weeks. Month and a half, so it's February 22nd, so it's about the 10th of January now. So 6 weeks, yeah. What are your thoughts now that we're only about a month and a half away? Paul just said to me that he sees Tyson stopping Deontay this time round. Do you echo those words, or?
I do believe that could happen. I do believe it could happen. He could get knocked out in a round and it wouldn't get a shock. It wouldn't shock anybody in the world, because Deontay Wilder is the hardest punching heavyweight in heavyweight history. So for me, it would come a shock, but it wouldn't shock the rest of the world, because I do know Tyson's so hard to catch. But Tyson's so unpredictable. He's training now with Sugar Hill, the Kronk, Emmanuel Stewart's nephew. So I just think they're going to be ever so slightly more fine-tuned. There was one or two mistakes I could pick out in Tyson's, because when he fought Wadden, is it? When he
Otto Valley.
Otto Valen.
Yeah.
Otto, yeah. When he fought, no, was it that one or what? Not his last fight, not when he got cut, the fight before that. Tom Swartz.
Yeah.
Now, I was with him all through that training camp in Las Vegas. Yeah. I picked up on one or two things what I think he shouldn't have been doing. Now, I do think Sugar Hill will pick on them one or two things and correct them, and he won't make the same mistakes, and he will not get put over. If the fight plans out how I think it could plan out, Tyson won't get put down. It'll be lucky if Tyson takes 2 or 3 punches in the whole fight, and Tyson could win by knockout.
What did you make of Tyson's change from obviously Ben Davison being his trainer to moving over to Sugar Hill? What was your thoughts on it?
Ben Davison's a good trainer. Sugar Hill has been brought up with Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Stewart is a legendary trainer in the Hall of Fame. He's world champion after world champion. He's perfected the tall man style. Who better to go with than the tall man trainer of the world? You know, everything Sugar Hill's learnt is off Emmanuel. So, who else to go with? I just couldn't see nobody else to go with. Look at the Klitschko's went with him. Klitschko's was only decent fighters. They went with him and they become superstars, Hall of Famers again. So I don't think there was any other man to go with.
Was it a surprise to you that Tyson decided to change trainer?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a surprise, because Ben wasn't just a normal trainer. He was a good friend of Tyson's. They still are good friends. They still will remain good friends, I think, for a long, long time. But it's what's best in business, and Tyson has took everything he can take from Ben. Now, if he only picks up 1% more from Sugar Hill, not saying Sugar Hill's better than Ben, but if he only learns 1% more from Sugar Hill, well, then that's 1% better, and that's all he needs to win that fight. He isn't going to forget what Ben's showed him or taught him. He's going to take that with him and add 1% more, and that's going to win him the fight.
Well, Hosea, I will let you shoot off now because I've taken nearly 20 minutes of your time. But final word to yourself, what would you like to say to everybody?
Happy New Year.
Well put, Hosea. But as always, I appreciate your time, and thanks for catching up with myself once again. I'll speak to you very soon. See you soon.
See you soon, eh?